Hi, welcome to Cliterally Speaking the podcast. I'm Michelle Doherty.
And I'm Emily Lane.
We are BFFs dedicated to bringing you conversations between girlfriends over a bottle of wine.
Oh, I am so excited about the wine part.
Oh, me too. So pull up a chair, grab your glass,
and let's get talking.
Hey, Emily. How are you?
Hey, Michelle. I'm great. Thank you. I can't believe it's retirement of the month already.
I know, just like clockwork, every last Wednesday of the month at 8 o'clock, it seems to happen, you know?
Here it is. I know I was a little unprepared. I was scrambling last second here, trying to make sure I had a glass for my wine and, priorities.
Right. Yeah, you know, we're not the only people that have ever been caught, with a surprise time of the month. Gosh, I feel like I look a little hot. Like temperature-wise with the camera. I should probably move myself over a little bit. Do I? And we need to say hello to our producer in the back who's doing all of the production, switching our camera and stuff for us today. So anyway, let's talk a little bit real quick about what we're drinking. I haven't had a sip yet, but I'm really excited because we're drinking the same thing.
I know, this is the first time that we are actually sharing not only the same beverage, but we're actually sharing the bottle even from our remote studios here.
Mm-hmm.
So we're both sharing this bottle of Chianti that was gifted to us from the wine merchant. It's Chianti Classico, a reserva from 2016.
Yeah, pull it back a little bit. Pull it back. Right, a little bit more. It's blurry. It's blurry, Emily. You're too close. You're too close.
We'll take a picture and share it later in our notes. But I have yet to really get my nose all the way in this and yet really swish it around on the palate. But just like first impressions, there's a lot going on in this little sweetheart. So I'm getting
red cherries and cassis and red currant and a little blueberry on the nose. And then on the palate, I find this to be really meaty, a little bit of leather, pepper, some herbs like oregano and bay leaf and all kinds of good things. So I know there's more in this glass to discover. That's just my first impression.
Yeah. I think it's very good. I've been having it in the decanter since we split it. And it's really lovely. It's not harsh. It smells fabulous. It's
herby.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. This is definitely a bottle of wine that I could drink all by myself. I'm not gonna.
Sorry. Thank you for sharing it with me.
I'm not gonna, pout or anything when I get to the end of the decanter because I got plenty that I can, go and get from the cellar and drink in place of it. So, anyway,
Did I ask the price point was on this bad boy when you picked it up?
When someone's giving me wine, I never ask.
Yeah. Okay. Well, fair enough. My research says that it's going to hover in that price point between $15 and $20. So right in our sweet spot of where we like to be.
Okay.
But, for the time of the month, if you need something to treat yourself extra right, I say go for it.
Right. Well, we have another exciting time of the month. I mean, as time of the months are scheduled this time at kind of last minute. So we're really excited that they were able to join us. Frankie Ruprecht and Lucas Hanner from the Cherokee Street online virtual silent auction. And I know I screwed it up, but I want to welcome you guys to the Time of the Month show. Hi, Frankie. Hi, Lucas.
Hey, thanks for having us.
Sure. I know that, did you guys bring anything to drink along with it? And you want to give your
I'm fairly certain we both have something to drink.
Yeah.
I know this is very wine-based, but I don't drink wine.
That's
like
okay.
I used to or whatever. So you've got a couple bourbon drinkers in the house. So
Love bourbon.
with you. I don't know if you can see it from there. This is, speaking of Cherokee, this is actually not located in Cherokee, but some of the founders live here. This is Switchgrass Spirits, and this is their brand new bourbon.
Oh,
Market. I did not make it to Earthbound Beer to go pick up my bottle a half a block away because they sold out so quickly. So I actually called my friend, Pat Grosh, who was one of the founders for Switchgrass, and I said, I need a bottle for tonight. He's like, I got you. So
Cool.
So tell us.
What's it taste like? What kind of panty is it?
So I've been thinking about this because I did my research on the time of the month, as one should, right?
Right.
I want to say that it's your classic black spaghetti strap slip that you have under, it's like Ava Gardner, Elizabeth Taylor, classic. Had on a hot tip. That's the vibe.
Really? Okay.
Nice. Nice.
Mm.
But is it so classic though that in the summertime you're not going to get all sweaty because it's a really great fabric that kind of keeps you from getting too hot underneath it?
I would say that you'd feel okay being sweaty in this.
Oh, well.
All right.
You hope you're going to be sweaty, right? just bring your own towel.
That's right. Or just be okay with it. It's fine.
All right. Well, and Lucas, what are you drinking?
Like Frankie, I do have a little glass of the switchgrass as well. Not drinking it from the bottle, but Frankie probably is. It is really good. I love it. But then I have from one of our breweries right here in St. Louis on Cherokee Street, Earthbound Brewery. And this one that I have tonight is called the Earthbound Blonde. And it's an ale brewed with cardamom, black pepper, and tea.
Nice.
It's so good.
That sounds amazing.
I love cardamom.
That's a perfect voice for this podcast with all the blondes.
Yeah.
It's perfect. And it's cool that you guys are drinking like the same thing and we're drinking the same thing.
I thought
Totally.
about it. It's not the same bottle. Lucas wouldn't share his with me.
Well, let's do a little cheers real fast, guys. Yeah, let's start it off a little bit.
Yeah.
Fanta.
I'm really excited to hear about what you guys are doing. And Frankie, I'm fortunate that we've had a few chances to hang out before and do things like karaoke and whatnot. So I think that this is really extra special to have you here, and we've been thinking about bringing you on the show for quite some time, and now you've got this wonderful project that's a real go-giver kind of project that's really giving back to people who are suffering right now due to COVID. And can you tell us a little bit about this initiative that the two of you had, and that impact it's having?
It's one of the best things I've ever had the opportunity to be involved with. The timing, the mission, and then also like the delivery of it. Just from start to finish, it's just win, 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 win. And Lucas really is the founder of this. This is his baby, and it really comes from his spirit of loving this community so much, like I do, and wanting to do something for the folks in our community that were out of work, and with nothing coming in to help them, at least not immediately. And also, and Lucas, correct me if I'm wrong, but the idea started with, I don't know, I've got this stuff that I think might bid on it, and let's just see how this goes. It was very, very homegrown.
Yeah, it was like March 17th or 18th, and it was like I woke up thinking about an autographed baseball I had and a rare bottle of bourbon, and I thought, if I put these in a silent auction, people would probably bid each other for these.
Mm-hmm.
Well, wait. When you woke up and you said, "I have these things I want to sell," but did you first have that mind like, "Oh my gosh, I feel responsible. I need to try to help take care of my neighbors," and I mean, like that was. I mean, that was in your heart first, and then
the idea the day before I woke up with it when I realized it was I was trying to think of some way to help my friends, and at the time I didn't realize it was going to be as many friends as we were going to be able to help. At first, I was just thinking about a few friends that work, Yaki's on Cherokee or Whiskey Ring, and I was thinking, well, I have this bike downstairs. What? I don't know. And so this thought went to rest with me, and then I woke up the next day and I thought silent auction. And let's see how it goes. And once I did like my first post about it, and people reached out to me about donating, including Frankie. And that's why Frankie has been such a huge part of this. She jumped on board from the very first week, and it was something special. She was contributing her husband's rug collection, and that right there is special. Like right there, like I just melted. And it
validated what you were creating and the need for it.
But
you also personally affected by all of the layoffs and so forth?
And was that question for me or Frankie?
Yes, for you, Lucas. Were you also personally affected?
No, actually, no, I was not. I have a day job that I'm still lucky to have. These are places like, for instance, across the street from Earthbound Beer is Yaki's on Cherokee. It's a pizza restaurant and bar, and the owner's daughter and my daughter are best friends, and we're just like a family that we're a family.
Ooh, you got to take that down. Yeah, take that back down.
We're up to
you can
6
hit the eye to turn it off.
That's amazing.
And you've reached something like $20,000 at this point, right?
$3,500, yeah.
So I wanted to circle back a little bit about the rugs and why that was such an impactful contribution. Like why you went to that. If you don't mind, Frankie, sharing a little bit more.
The reason being is that the way it happened was Frankie. I mean, because these rugs, there were some that were worth up to $1,500, and she was willing to let them go at a silent auction for a few $100s,
wow,
knowing that money was helping her friends, as opposed to her turning to Craigslist or eBay and trying to get top dollar out of them.
Right.
She said she was waiting for the right opportunity or moment that these rugs were going to go for something good, and they did, and it's special. Like I ended up bidding like crazy on them because I love Frankie and I wanted one of these rugs in my living room, and I'm looking at 2 of them right now.
Oh, so you were a winner. So Frankie,
yes.
So your husband, tell us a little bit more.
Yeah, so I'm a widow. My husband was Armin, and he died about 5.5 years ago, very suddenly. And he was a 3rd generation Armenian rug merchant, retailer, repairer, learned how to repair and clean from his grandfather and father. So this is it's very special what he did, and very specialized. I learned a ton about the rug industry and about rugs, and so I cherish it. But part of being a widow, especially when something happens so suddenly and there's no time to prepare, there's an obligation, or I felt a duty to, I still feel a duty to, sometimes things are just things, and sometimes things are more than things.
Mm-hmm.
So the things that were his that were more than things, they're actually really things. Like they're, like the rug that, they're what?
They hold memories and are very associated with them.
Yes. For me personally, absolutely every one of them. But even more than that, in the bigger scheme of things, like the rug that our friend Kate got at Cherokee Yoga, it's in her meditation nook, and it is a tribal piece, and it's very, very, very unique. And for a piece of Armin's tribal collection to get to be in my beautiful friend Kate's amazing space makes me so happy. Like, you can't put that on Craigslist or really sell it in a store typically, because we did that. We had a rug store, and really have that happen. This was
Right.
just the time, So the thing with rugs is, so I have a South City basement, and they're damp and musty, as anybody knows who's ever walked into a South City basement. And it is not ideal. And the thing with things that I've learned with Armin passing is that, just like people, they deteriorate. Holding on to them does nothing good. Nothing good. Unless you've got a warehouse or a climate-controlled geodesic dome or something that I do not have. And also, it was also so much of my previous life. There's a time to move forward, and there's a way to do it gracefully and well and with meaning and intention. And this was just absolutely this was a perfect outlet for me. I get to talk about Armin. I get to talk about my old life.
Yeah.
I delivered a rug across the street to one of the folks that got it, or I was actually walking in across the street from Earthbound, because that's kind of headquarters for the auction is Earthbound, and right across the street is Yaki's. And as I walked the rug across to give it to Jules, someone else who I didn't know said, "Hey, is that one of Armin's rugs?" And I'm like, "Yes, it is."
Wow.
That just made me so happy to kind of get to tell the story.
So did you
Yeah,
sell a rug a
Yeah.
week, or are
We did
you all done, or?
we did about three or four rugs a week.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
I love how, this area, this neighborhood is so family driven, and I think that's something special about St. Louis, is that there's all these wonderful little pockets. But Cherokee Street definitely there's a loyalty among the residents and the businesses there. And I like so much hearing that here you have this this part of your husband's legacy, and then finding the right next home for it. And it's staying within the family and doing that community some good. That's gotta feel right.
It really does. And just as one quick example, so there were two rugs that were war rugs, and they depict war. So they're tribal pieces, and it's art. So the weavers weave into their rug. We in the United States think of a rug as an area rug. You put it in your living room, put it on your patio, and it's just decorative. It's not what this is in the countries that are weaving countries and the cultures that are weaving cultures. It's expression, it's art, it's function and beauty. So when war rugs often happen when people are living in a war-torn country, because it's expression. And so I had a couple war rugs. They were kind of small, and I was like, who's going to want these? But I'm like, let's just put them in. And they were from when Russia invaded Afghanistan. So it was an Afghani rug, and it's got USSR on it, and their armaments and planes and grenades, and the motifs are armaments. Anyway, so I put them out there, and I'm like, all right. But then in the back of my mind, I'm like, ooh, I'm going to watch and make sure it isn't a collector just coming in here. And, I don't know. I'm very protective. But it ended up going the winner. There are two veterans who were there at the time. So these rugs are very meaningful to them. And they live in Soulard, and I dropped them off to their house.
Wow.
So it's stuff like that that's happened in this. That's just like, this is the right thing. Like Lucas's dream and waking up with this kind of ready to go, and then putting it into action is just one of the best things I've ever been involved with.
That's so exciting. I'm so glad that you found the right outlet for, your husband's rugs, and, kind of been able to let go a little bit of his things in such a positive way,
Yes. And
Go
it's
ahead.
such an expression of Cherokee. I mean, there's some things that only happen in some areas and in some communities. Not that this couldn't be replicated anywhere if the community. But Cherokee has this specialness about it that made it all just kind of come together.
So for any of our listeners or viewers that are not from St. Louis, would you guys just give a real quick description of what the flavor and what you would see if you're walking along Cherokee Street in St. Louis?
You want to do that, Frankie?
Yeah.
Family friendly.
Okay. So, then family-friendly answer is that people who come and visit here from the East Coast, especially New York, my family from New York, they're like, oh, this is just like Brooklyn. This is just like Williamsburg. This is just like where I live in New York, and I've heard that from many people. It's got a very big city feel in a very small space, like a pocket of, like you were saying, of St. Louis, which each neighborhood in St. Louis has its own flavor, right? Mm-hmm. But Cherokee is very creative, very progressive, very open. The reason that I bought here is I looked all over the city, but I bought here. I really wasn't intending to, but I bought here because every single time I came to Cherokee, whether I was walking down the street or in one of the bars or in one of the shops, the attitude of the people in the community was, hey, what's your story? Hey, how are you?
Nice.
It wasn't, sometimes, and I love this about St. Louis, but sometimes you can walk into a place and they're like, oh, God, she's new. Okay, what do you have?
The diversity of that neighborhood.
Yes, yeah. And I felt very seen and welcomed, and it's very, very friendly. Lucas, what do you think?
So, seeing the impact that you're having with this auction, and how good it feels to give these items the next life in a way that has meaning for the item as well as for the people who, the funds are going to support. Do you see, even past COVID or whatever that looks like, do you see this tradition carrying on and maybe shaping it for other possibilities?
I mean, I actually have tried, I'll say this. I have talked to one friend about the future of that and like what are options. And I'll be honest with you, I hate my day job. If I could do this full time, I love this and helping people out. Anyway, so there's so many ideas. There's lots of ideas. I was just thinking about it the other night, and post COVID, if that is a thing, I think a Cherokee virtual silent auction long term would maybe employ 2 people. It wouldn't be huge, but it's like I'm looking at, like, we have a local organization called the Angel Boutique. Frankie, help me out. What's their foundation called?
I want to say, is it Guardian Angel?
Guardian Angels, yeah. So they have a thrift store on one side, then they have their social offices on the other side, and they do a lot of good in the community. And they employ like 2 employees at the thrift store side of it. And I was thinking about that like model, like maybe this would provide 2 jobs for some people on our street to train them how to do exactly what we did during COVID times, and keep it going. So maybe, but at the same time, I'm working my full-time job. I'm putting more than full-time hours into the auction. I do about 50 to 60 hours a week into the auction. And then I also have my kids. So I have been very busy. Wow. I'll think about the future when we get there.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's a dream item for you to get for the auction?
Say it again.
Motorcycle.
You're saying what's the dream item to be donated to our auction?
Yeah.
That's a good one. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, no. Like maybe like a historic statue that somebody has. But why would they have their hands on that? I don't know. But yeah.
People have stuff in their basements in South City they got to get rid of,
This is the thing. We've gotten artwork. We've gotten pottery. We've gotten albums. We've gotten zines. We've gotten
don't forget the booze.
Oh, and tons of booze.
Tons of booze.
Lots of wine.
And maybe there was some edible cakes and cookies and stuff auctioned off too, but
maybe, possibly.
possibly.
It is Cherokee, so when in Rome.
Oh, and a tattoo on the back.
Oh, I heard. Oh, Frankie told me about this. You guys need to talk more about the tattoo auction. Definitely share this a little bit more.
A friend of ours, and he has actually put in some hours working at least early on, like when Whiskey Ring opened like 6 years ago. I had worked a little part-time work there, and so did Eli. And he's giving up a 4-inch by 4-inch section on his shoulder and said, I'm paying for it. I'll do a 4-inch by 4-inch tattoo, and the winning bidder gets to choose anything as long as it's not offensive. Can be as silly as can be on my shoulder. So, well, some friends from the Whiskey Ring pitched in and made sure that they won, and the ideas are just all over the map. It's hilarious. I cannot wait.
Over $200.
Yeah.
The winning bid is over $200 for that, just to be able to choose the tattoo on Eli's shoulder.
Wow.
I almost did a stretch goal, and I'll do that every once in a while. And things will be like, hey, if we hit this amount, I'll throw in this too. I came real close to throwing in a stretch goal on that auction listing. If you guys reach this amount of money in bidding, I will offer up my lower back next week in the auction. And I was like, nah, better not. My friend would be ruthless.
You get in the moment, you get all inspired. I mean, that's what's so fun about auctions in general. I mean, like when you're bidding on something, there is a total rush going on.
So this has been fun. Like, this is an unexpected. I've been to virtual or silent auctions in the past, and you put your name down, blah blah. Or maybe there's a little banter. This is like community building, because in the comments on the so there's the Facebook page for the Cherokee Street virtual auction, and then in the page each week there's a new event, and then there's a post in that event for each item, and then you make a comment on that post for the item that you want with the dollar amount that you bid, and then of course you can smack talk. Put GIFs or GIFs. You can give each other trouble, because a lot of us are friends. Now, there's a lot of bidders that aren't from here. I just did some shipping today. Finally, got the shipping done. So it's got a reach that's amazing. But for the folks that know each other, it's a lot of fun just to kind of, get at each other and outbid each other. There's a healthy competition of it. And then also with the folks that are from out of town, I mean, I've met people through this, which is super fun.
Yeah. We've made a lot of friends in the last 10 weeks.
So one of our commenters asked what the Facebook page address is, and is it public? Like, can they just join it, or do they need to be invited to it?
Yeah. It's all public. So the group page is the Cherokee Virtual Silent Auction, and then right after that I put CVSA. So Cherokee Virtual Silent Auction, and then I always post that each week's event page in there. I have to do today's yet. It's been a very long day, but auction number 10 started today, and to search that, it's public as well, and it is Virtual Silent Auction hashtag as in number 10. So Virtual Silent Auction number 10 with the hashtag, the number sign. And I think it says for our Cherokee Street industry friends. But yeah, the group is the main thing.
So this has been 10 weeks.
Yes. Well, technically it's 11 weeks. I didn't have it all figured out in the first 2 weeks.
Okay.
And I was completely overwhelmed. My son immediately started homeschooling, and so I was being a freshman high school teacher. I was being a preschool teacher for my daughter, and I was working my day job, which is very stressful in itself, and then running the auction. So I didn't have like the ins and outs. I got it down to a balance now. I know, like, but after the first 2 weeks, I was like, I got to take a week off. So otherwise, this would be week 11, or this is week 11 but it's not auction number 11. It's auction number 10.
Wow. So, and the people who have benefited from the $23,000, $24,000,
Yeah.
I mean, do you have an extensive application process? I mean, because some people, when they
No, that's the
apply
best
for
part.
funds, they have to give like their entire family history and promise,
Go,
12 pints
Lucas.
of blood.
Go.
That's the part I'm proud of most, is because a lot of people create GoFundMe's, and that's awesome. I contribute to them as well. But what I wanted to create, was something that you're bidding and you're receiving something, all while knowing your money's going to a good cause. On the other side, I didn't even give, literally, these people wake up with the money in their account. They do have the option to say, hey, I'm okay. I have a side job that I'm doing and I'm fine. And I've had about, 3-4 people say, I'm good. Go ahead and take me off the list. But there was no application process. I literally contacted the owners of each place and said, give me a list, and I want their PayPal or Venmo next to it, of their name. Yeah. So we started off from the very first week taking care of 24 friends, and now we are up to 32. And I'll give you this. So when you hear a number like $23,000, it's a lot, right? Every single dollar's sent out every week. So we start back at zero every week. As far as, so if we earn, the average is anywhere around $2,000 to $2,200 in an auction. That money is divided up. And so whatever the closest round figure is, let's say like this week, $65 per person, which was a low week, but it was a holiday week and so on.
Yeah.
The average is probably 80 or 90 per person a week for 32 people, so
that's like groceries for some people,
that's the whole point. Groceries, and if you save 2 weeks in a row, you can pay one of your utility bills.
Yeah.
Now, I have had one person come up and thank me with tears in their eyes, and it choked me up. Of course, I started crying too. Hell, I was crying earlier when Frankie was talking about Armin. I was like, I get choked up easy. And I'm like, these are my first drinks of the night, and you're getting me all worked up over here.
Well, our podcast, is known for bringing people to tears, whether it's laughter or from the heart and the, sadness, whatever. But we really, really appreciate and are so impressed. It's just another thing that makes me so glad to be in St. Louis,
Yeah.
In spite of what some of the national media gets exposed to about St. Louis, they don't necessarily know about all of these really cool things about how we're actually taking care of each other. And that's what this time is about, right? That's why we had to go to quarantine, so we could take care of each other. And and you guys just took it another step. And focused in on those that in your neighborhood that you rely on and care for, that don't have necessarily anything to fall back on. What a scary time for them, and it would have been even worse.
And I'll say when we started, obviously received a lot of thank yous from them, and I said, you know what? No, thank you. We've sat on the other side of the bar, and
talk some shit all the time.
You put up with our shit for years. Let us take care of you for a few weeks. So.
They're like, all those stories we heard from you every weekend. It's I owe you. I owe you.
Oh, absolutely, 100%. No,
it's therapy, right? You're paying for your therapy.
Mm-hmm.
Totally.
And community. That's the other thing about, and I keep saying that word, but it's really, really true. And in Cherokee, the squares, the not squares, but the city center, the village center. No, nobody's really square, Jerry.
The nerds, the greasers.
Yeah, the city centers, the village centers, the whatever. They're the bars here. They're Fortune Teller and Yaki's and the Whiskey Ring and Earthbound and on and on. B-side, San Lou. Those are our community hubs. That's where Lucas and I met. That's where I met all of these people that I know in Cherokee now. And it's really important. You know, it's not just a good time. It's really important for the fabric of this community and for the strength of it. And I think we're really showing it, you know, with what people are doing, not just this, but it's just an amazing place to live. So when you mentioned that about good press for St. Louis, Michelle, when you and I were talking on Sunday, and Michelle gave me so much more time on her holiday, our holiday, Memorial Day, than I ever expected. We were talking about a different topic, but I said, hey, would you mind? You know, she's like, sure. And I was like, oh, half an hour. It was 3 hours that we were talking. It was so much fun.
Emily is not surprised with that statement.
Right.
I can talk and talk and talk.
You know, when you invited me to come on the show, I was like, oh, Wednesday? Are we ready? Yes. We'll do this. I didn't even hesitate. I really didn't even ask Lucas, although I did. But I was like, we're doing it.
And for our viewers, she only let him know that it was a Facebook Live with video like 10 minutes before the show tonight. He was like, you said it was a call.
You still look fabulous. Come on.
I went to I just had the same T-shirt on all day. I just opened my closet like right in front of you guys on video and threw this like blazer I got in New Orleans on real quick.
Nice.
And I was like, that'll do.
Nice.
And then I moved into here.
Well, I know, and I haven't even run this by Emily yet, but if you wanted to add to your auction items, maybe like a guest spot on our podcast.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
People are donating services. Nate Burrell donated photography services. This is a great idea.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we'd be happy to do that, wouldn't we, Emily?
Sign me up. I agree. Yeah.
Thank you.
So just let us know what we need to provide you so that you can add it to an upcoming auction. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm curious, Lucas, I noticed that you have a handle on Facebook that's Crew Jones. Is that right? So tell me about this handle.
So the long and the short of it is the fact that I didn't have a Facebook for many years, and but I wanted to be involved with local events, especially concerts where my friends are playing at off Broadway or somewhere, or phone when it was open. So I created one, and I was like, I don't want to be out there and have like my entire high school and like second cousins bother. Like I didn't really want that part of Facebook. I just wanted the music and my current friends. So I decided to. I was like, what name? And this movie I grew up with, which was one of my favorite movies, it's called Rad, and it was about BMX bike riding, and the name character in the movie is Crew Jones, and so I created it. And it's been great having a little alias, right?
Right.
It's just been funny because like a lot of people in the community will call me Crew because I also started Western Wear Night, which that's a whole other episode for you guys. We'll do that another night.
Yeah.
Western Wear Night.
Yeehaw.
On Cherokee Street, just like people walking around.
Yeah, we have a whole concert, whole party, sponsors, vendors, everything.
Oh my! It's so
wow.
I've never heard of it. I feel like I've been living in a cave.
It's an opportunity to dress up in your Western duds.
Right. And right now it's virtual, but we have done 2 virtual Western Wear Nights on Zoom and stuff. So we're just like, hey, let's at least get together and dress up at home.
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, people.
Fun of a dress up party.
So
go ahead,
Emily.
Yeah. Oh no, I was just saying I love a good dress up party. You know, that sounds like a good time.
Lucas, you could have.
I am testing from my closet, so.
Boy, this is why when Emily and I met in a bar, it was like, whoop. For you. Yeah. And then I happened to meet Denise behind Michelle at NextCore, and it was like, oh, well, this is a small world now, isn't it, of these wonderful people.
Yeah, dressing up is fun, too. So
so one of our...
episode. That'd be
One
good.
of our viewers is asking. She noticed that I was taking a sip of water out of my Tupperware quick shake, and she was my Tupperware rep, and she was wondering if you guys would want any Tupperware for your auction.
Absolutely.
So,
Yeah.
okay, they should just go to the Facebook page if they're interested in donating and get PM you guys, or make a comment or.
Go to the Cherokee virtual silent auction page. Either post on there or send a direct message to the host of that, which will be Crew Jones, which is my alias. Who is Crew?
You can message either one of us.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. We would love that. And like people have come to me like, do you think? I go, yes. Like everything gets bid on. A friend of mine is a very avid book collector. So each week on my front porch, I get a very nice collection of themed books from Thomas Crone. And it might be cinema themed one week, music themed the next, and they're good ones. And then I pair that with something, throw a little something else with it, because that's part of the auction is like, okay, well, you have one item, it's like, okay, let's pair something with it, because people love to bid on a comp.
It's like their basket, you always like to leave those auctions carrying the basket out,
Totally. So you get a virtual basket of cool stuff.
Right. So I guess you're donating or auctioning off pieces of booze, but are you doing like the big basket of booze, like every Catholic grade school auction, has always got the big basket of booze.
Right. If there's a reason for them to be together, and I'll tell you this for a reason. We had someone donate an entire set of Game of Thrones scotch, I think. Is that right? Frankie was in the scotch?
I think so. That's why I didn't bid.
Fascinated.
Yeah, it was cool. I'm like, what? So obviously we had to keep that together. That went for like $210.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that was probably still a bargain.
It's really unique stuff like this. Like Game of Thrones scotch? What?
Didn't even know it existed.
Hadn't heard of it.
I so wish I knew about that, because I love Scotch and Game of Thrones, and imagine the two together.
And just as a comment, some of these things, like my rugs, some of these things, they do have value, right? But we're not stores. We don't have a storefront, or it's going to take a while to sell them. Armin would call them his museum collection, because they would sit in the store for so long. They were in a museum. It really takes the right person. So they have value, but it's going to be a while to really monetize it. So rather than do that,
wait.
put it up and then have to go for that. There's so much more value than just the money.
Yeah.
I spent a few years in the auction business myself, and during that time I was auctioning fine rare violins. Oh, wow. And it was always a point of discussion with people who are wanting to sell the instrument. It's with auction, you're going to likely get less dollars, but it's going to go now, and it's going to find a home, as opposed to selling it, privately or through a shop can take years. Right. And so what does that money mean to you now? And what can that do and in your case, what can that do for others now? The impact is greater. Yeah.
And you guys took, there are people that make business, like have entire businesses on running auctions. When I would go to events locally, you would have like your credit card and a little handheld device, and you're like, or on your phone, and it was like they could get your money without even you thinking about them getting your money. But what I love about the fact is that you made it very simple. It's just an event on Facebook, and basically the last bid wins, right? Yeah.
Right. I close it out on Sunday nights at 8, and the last bid. So what I do is I usually do a live Facebook stream like this, and talk, because to go through each one, 30 items, I can't do them all right at 8 o'clock. So what I do is I go live and I say, okay, here we go. And then if people want to start doing last minute bidding against each other, I give them a little time because this is a fundraiser.
Yeah.
And
That's right.
Yeah.
finally somebody bows out.
There is an aspect of live auction to it, which is so fun. I totally forgot about that aspect. There's the whole, week long or so virtual silent auction where you're just commenting and smack talking and whatever and trying to beat your friends. But then there's the live event where you can just swoop in the last moment, snatch it.
And yeah, because I found after week 1, I was like, there's no way. Like I was starting from the bottom and scrolling through and typing closed. And then so items that were further up, someone was able to just outbid someone. And so I was like, you know what, let me go live.
Yeah.
And you follow it all along and I'm going to go in order and close things out. But if there is a battle, I'm stepping back. I even have a megaphone I'll pull out and be like, try to do a little auction.
Oh my gosh. I bet you still do you still have all those videos on your Facebook page? I mean, because, whenever we do something live, it automatically saves it. That would be fun to get some of those clips of you with the megaphone.
I drink a lot during that. This is early right now, and not on Sunday night. No.
And you're not having to homeschool anybody in freshman or preschool anymore. So, whew,
Yeah, no. Sunday night, I didn't save all the videos. There's still some up, but yeah, I've definitely woke up the next morning with that regret and thought, I should delete that one. I turned the buzz
on Cherokee, just like real life.
And so, when people are winning, do you guys? I guess you can take credit cards and things like that through PayPal and Skype, or not Skype, but Venmo. I mean, it's not like you've made this kind of virtual. You don't necessarily need to collect cash from somebody, right?
Correct. I do, and technically, I offer PayPal, Venmo, and Cash App.
Okay.
But people can also do it through the Facebook Messenger, which it goes straight to my bank as well. So that's actually 4 ways. Yeah. Okay. So, and then there's been a few people, and I'm okay with this, who say, hey, is it all right if I bring cash? And I go, put it in a Ziploc bag. And then literally I will spray it with Lysol and leave it for, a few days. But the reason I don't mind that for a couple people is because I do have about 3 recipients in the auction who can only accept cash. And
okay.
Yeah. So out of the 32 people that were helping that week, I need to be able to produce some of these auction funds into the form of cash to pay those 3 out. So, yeah.
With the phased reopening that we're going through, what is getting opened on Cherokee? Anything yet?
Ooh, good question.
Great question. So far, the 6 places that we are taking care of are staying the course, being safe, curbside service, and so on. Beer window, walk up, beer window. But there are a couple businesses I've noticed that are doing some trying.
Eating at La Vallasana and El Torito, and I think Don Carlos is going to be reopening soon and have it remodeled.
Yeah. And then that Open Concept's doing something as well.
I don't know what Open Concept is doing, but I should. But there's a Whiskey Ring does curbside booze. Yaki's does curbside booze and food. B-Side has done a couple of events. Their burgers are amazing. So they've done a couple burger events and T-shirt events.
And I will say for B-Side, they're doing every Friday and Saturday now, and they're each weekend coming up with a new creative new style burger, themed burger for that weekend. So every Friday, Saturday.
Wow.
It's really one of the most underrated burgers in the city, honestly. It's so good.
Well, everyone's going to be going there now. I mean, I know we're going tomorrow.
Good.
Gotta check those out. I love the name, the B-Side. We have on our podcast, when we have conversations or interviews with, our male guests, we call those the B-side
B.
conversations. You know, when we have our female guests, that's just, of course, naturally, that'll be the A side, right? But with the men, it's the B side. So my brain's like working here. Maybe we get connected with the B side burger place, and you know.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
awesome.
that B-side wine you found, Michelle.
I know, I did. I was at the meat market. I mean, you know, not like the real meat market. I mean, the real meat market. That's where I got it the other day. Kenrick's Meat Market. It's a Pinot Noir. I haven't had it yet, but I'm looking forward to drinking the B-side on a B-side conversation. So we need to have to drink the B-side wine with a B-side conversation at B-side burgers.
Yes.
I think that sounds like a grand time.
B-side is a bar. It's a bar, but they also have a
Dive bar.
Dive bar. Yeah. So it's a
Big time dive bar. I heard from our producer behind me, which makes me think that maybe she's been there. Maybe she's like haunting the streets of St. Louis while, you know, the rest of us are trying to be like good, you know, in bed, you know, make sure we get up in time for our work the next day. Just teasing. I'm just teasing because I can. Well, this has been absolutely fabulous. You know, we've got like about 8 more minutes left for our time of the month. You know, we got to make sure we bleed it out.
Lucas is like,
oh, sorry, Lucas.
Oh, that's fine. I was like, man, they didn't ask me about, you know, what my time of the month underwear would be as well.
I was going to ask actually what you thought your whiskey or your
beer.
bourbon, what kind of underwear or garment or inspiration. Yeah.
I think I want to do the answer to the Earthbound Blonde, the ale with the cardamom, black pepper, and tea.
Okay.
Yeah, I honestly think that these are going to be like more like I'm going to go with I know, the party suits, the long johns, the butt flap.
The butt flap.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
There you go.
So I have a question about those long john party suits or the butt flap. I know that whenever I had to wear a onesie pajama when I was growing up, you know, I love the sleeper pajamas because you were always so warm, except for the fact that you have like pee in the middle of the night, right?
Right.
You like unzip the whole thing, and girls have to take our arms out. Same thing with guys. If you have the butt flap, do you still have to take everything off, or is there like a front flap that just
it's a front button fly. It actually buttons all the way up. A true party suit, union suit, long john, one piece will button all the way down below the fly, and then they have the butt flap on the back. So yeah, that's a true one.
So you don't have to necessarily undress to pee.
You don't have to disrobe
like the women do.
Right.
It's patriarchy. It's the patriarchy.
Yeah.
Okay.
There are some clever solutions out there for the ladies, you know.
Well, I mean, and that's the beauty of like the style I'm talking about. They're unisex.
Okay. Right.
Well,
there are.
I guess if you're confident, they're unisex, but I would not be confident of my abilities at the middle of the night. I think I'd still take it all off.
Yeah, as you're like having to go pee in the middle of the night. Oh my God. Oh, that sounds miserable.
That's why I guess I prefer a nightgown. Just lift that shit up and pee. You know, there's no question. You know, I think though, yeah. So it's just been wonderful, and I really appreciate Frankie, our opportunity to talk earlier this week, and that led to you guys being able to come on our Time of the Month show and share with us all the fabulous things and the wonderful community spirit that you guys have down on Cherokee Street. I mean, I always loved going to Cherokee Street, but now I feel like even a little more connection to it. And hopefully when the bars are, open-ish, and we can feel comfortable hanging out at the bar, let's all have a glass of bourbon and a blonde back, I guess is what I would call it.
There you go.
I'm looking
Earthbound
forward
blonde.
to it. I really am. I live. I'm in the neighborhood next to you, so we're neighborhood neighbors.
Yes.
And I always enjoy the spirit of Cherokee Street. So I think it would be fun to come on down and spend some time with you guys. And
Yeah.
but I definitely, I think one of the things that is the value of community is growing during this time, and so I think we're going to be much more pointed and intentional about when we are going to get together with our friends, that it's going to be meaningful and important time. And, Michelle, when I swung by your place earlier to get my half of the Chianti here, when I was leaving, I was so impressed because, you have a very pretty neighborhood, and there's a park nearby, and there's whole families walking, and dogs and bicycles and kids, and to see that kind of just that amount of people out walking together and families spending time together, it really was, I was really struck by it, and so I think if there's some good that's come out of this, it's some of the invention that is happening with, some of the great things like the people like you are doing to take care of people within our community, some of the shift that's happening within how we care for our community, and then just taking care of our friends and family. There's some beauty right now.
One of the things that they always say that is like, I see you. And I think what you guys have done with your auction is you're telling the workers and the people of, that you see them and they matter. Because so many people could just be forgotten and lost in all of this COVID and Corona and, oh, well, we've had 100,000 dead. Oh, we have however many million on unemployment. And they just don't ever but when you can connect that to an actual living, breathing human being, it makes it more impactful and more meaningful to you.
And I will say this, not only are they our friends because we frequent those spots, and not only do we love them, they are important. Their job that they're impacted right now with those jobs is important. And I will, I know deep within me that their job is more important than mine, because I'm not making a difference. Serving me and listening to me and talking to me and being friendly to me, that is a huge job. And I know they can deal with so many stresses. They make a good difference in everyday life. Because where do I go when I have a bad day? I go there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. And when you want to have a good day, you go there.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you guys are awesome. And we really appreciate you spending this time with us. It is as we always say, our time of the month lasts 1 hour, which every woman's time of the month should last 1 hour on the last Wednesday of every month. Emily and I we've managed to stay in sync, even though we're not in the same location. We still have managed to, our cycles are all, synchronized and coordinated. But we will have, I'm sure, in our show notes of here, the listing. Make sure we'll have the connection to the link to your pages, and then we'll get with you guys on adding our podcast, a guest spot on our podcast in your auction. And thank you guys so much for coming out tonight, and thank you all of our viewers and watchers and commenters. We do this because we love to connect with you guys, and we think that you're great too. So if you want to get connected to Frankie and Lucas, you know how to do that, and we can catch us every Friday on our regular podcast episodes, but we'll be back here at the end of on the last Wednesday of June, which I think is my son's birthday.
Oh,
I guess I'll if it's not, if it is, I'll be here anyway, right? But I just might be eating cake. something like that. So anyway,
hopefully we be in the studio together, Michelle. Wouldn't that be amazing?
I don't know if I can talk to you without a screen in between us, Emily. I don't know. Like I'll have to text you or something. I'll have to talk to you like this. So anyway, good night, you guys. Thank you again. And
Thank you.
Take care.
Cheers.
Stay healthy. Cheers.
Cheers.